Well, tonight a Labrador MHA calls the failure to fix Nain's morgue disrespectful and an example of systemic racism. That story and...
Two violent incidents in Mount Pearl on Friday has city leaders up in arms and the population here feeling uneasy.
We feel the justice system is starting to let us down.
It was very hard to think about and concerning is the word.
There's an awful lot of violence that we've never seen before at new levels.
I'm Terry Roberts. I'll have that story coming up.
It's really putting a lot of extra work on small businesses.
We're very thankful that people are still supporting, but still we have noticed a significant decline in sales.
As the Canada Post strike continues, small business owners say they're bearing the brunt during the busy shopping season.
This is CBC Here and Now.
Good evening and welcome to Here and Now. There's a sense of unease in Mount Pearl tonight. Two violent incidents on Friday are all the talk, and now city leaders are speaking out about the level of policing and the role of the justice system. Here Now's Terry Roberts reports.
Leaders in Mount Pearl are usually very reluctant to say anything that might reflect negatively on their city, but all those filters have been removed today. That's because there's very real concern about public safety here in this city.
Our residents don't feel safe. They don't feel comfortable in our city anymore when they hear stories of a baseball bat, for example, being used to attack people.
They're afraid now to go out and walk their dog or go for a walk on the trails. That's just simply not acceptable. It's something that we've never been used to.
Friday was a violent day in Mount Pearl. Two separate attacks here on Roosevelt Avenue. Two men sent to hospital with serious injuries. The suspects, a gang of young people.
The trouble started around 5 o'clock on Friday evening. A man arrived here to pick up his child from an after-school program. He was swarmed by a group of young assailants. He received serious injuries. The CBC has been told that a bat-like weapon was used in the attack. As police officers were responding, reports came in that a second man had been assaulted further down the street, near this park. Again, serious injuries. Some details of what happened to the second victim have emerged through an online fundraising campaign. The male victim is a newcomer, moved to the province just 2 months ago.
According to that online post, the man was sitting in his car at this city-owned park when he was approached by a group of 9 to 10 young people.
The man was sprayed in the face, his eyes and skin burned. Like the first victim, he was beaten, a broken nose and other injuries. The online post says the man is unable to work, his vehicle is damaged, and he has medical bills. It's not clear whether the attacks were racially motivated.
From the sense I'm getting, it was more of a random attack.
And we prefer to, at this point, stick to the facts.
This is just the latest incident of marauding young people in Mount Pearl. Even talk of a gang called the Mount Pearl Death Squad. There was also a series of January attacks the RNC labeled organized criminal activity. Businesses are complaining about harassment, leaving customers uncomfortable around certain establishments. These city leaders are so concerned they're planning an open meeting for residents. Meanwhile, they want more cops on the street, stiffer sentences for anyone involved.
We feel the justice system is starting to let us down. There seems to be no accountability.
There's an awful lot of violence that we've never seen before at new levels we've never seen before. And now it's happening to just random citizens.
Late this afternoon, the RNC announced that a male teenager has been arrested and is in police custody. He's charged with aggravated assault, assault with a weapon, and being disguised while committing a crime. Terry Roberts, CBC News, Mount Pearl.
Well, a CBC Access and Information request shows the province's health authority was repeatedly told about Nain's broken morgue, but didn't act until a Labrador politician went public. Torn Gap Mountain's MHA Leela Evans says the documents reveal systemic racism at NL Health Services. Here Now's Mark Quinn has more.
An access to information request filed by CBC News shows officials were told in April 2023 that the health clinic's morgue in Nain was, quote, blowing hot air. The MHA for the district has read those documents too.
It was really disappointing to actually be able to see the facts, because I was hoping that there would have been more of an effort on Labrador Grenfell's like efforts to actually get the morgue fixed.
Evans says Nain's residents and the bodies of their loved ones were treated disrespectfully as the problem persisted for months. Evan knows better than most that travel to Northern Labrador can be challenging, but she doesn't accept the reasons the health authority gave for the delay.
And we see the correspondence, over a year where there was no real barriers that would have prevented them from going up. Everything that they said prevented the technician from going in could have been solved within a day, within a week.
Evans believes there's a deeper, more disturbing problem at play.
I think there's systemic issues where there's not respect to the people of Northern Labrador, to the point where I actually said it's systemic racism.
Days after Evans spoke with CBC about it this fall, the morgue was repaired.
We shouldn't have to rely on media. We shouldn't have to rely on things getting out publicly, where the general public says it's unacceptable, do something about it. We should have a government there that says, this is wrong, we have to take measures to fix it.
CBC asked the health authority for an interview, and it responded with an emailed statement saying, "Respect and dignity for the remains of individuals who have passed is of the utmost priority for NL Health Services. There were some challenges, and we sincerely apologize to all those involved for the delays. We are committed to doing better." The health authority says repairs to the cooling unit of the Nain morgue were completed on October 4th. Mark Quinn, CBC News, St. John's.
Well, the Salvation Army's Christmas Kettle campaign is one of the most recognizable fundraisers of the holiday season, but this is the last time you'll see volunteers ringing their bells in the Avalon Mall. Here now's Jessica Singer explains why.
Chances are, wherever you go shopping during the holiday season, you'll run into a Salvation Army kettle, like this one here in the Village Mall. But for one place, it's the last Christmas for the kettle, and it all boils down to religion. The Avalon Mall is owned by real estate investment company Crombie. They own hundreds of malls, plazas, and grocery stores all across the country. In early November, Crombie contacted the Salvation Army and said its kettles wouldn't be welcome in the Avalon Mall this holiday season. CBC News contacted Crombie about it. Then, that evening, Crombie told the Salvation Army it would be allowed in the Avalon Mall this year, but that's it. They won't be allowed back. So, why is this happening? Both Crombie and the Salvation Army wouldn't do an interview, but Crombie said in a statement that it's updated its community impact strategy. That means partnering with any religious organizations is off the table. The Salvation Army kettles have been in the Avalon Mall for more than 20 Christmas seasons. The money raised pays for things like food banks, shelter, soup kitchens, and disaster relief. Crombie's not the first company to back away from the Salvation Army. In an emailed statement, the Salvation Army said some organizations have opted out of hosting kettles because of concerns about our religious affiliation and misconceptions about inclusivity. The Salvation Army says fewer kettles on the ground means less money for Canadians who rely on its services. Crombie says companies that do align with its community impact strategy include the United Way, First Light, and the Canadian Mental Health Association. It says it'll continue to partner with VOCM Cares and the Happy Tree campaign. The Salvation Army distributes the donations to the Happy Tree, but as for raising their own donations in the mall, this is the final year. Jessica Singer, CBC News, St. John's.
Small business owners on the West Coast are frustrated with the Canada Post strike. The change in shipping so close to the Christmas season means a lot of extra costs and hassle. CBC's Colleen Connors has more.
This is not what Liz Compton wants to be doing. She drove an hour from Cormac to ship these holiday advent calendars filled with eco-conscious handmade skincare products. Because of the strike, she has to use UPS.
So it's really putting a lot of extra work on small businesses.
Usually it would cost $30 to send these through Canada Post. Now it's $40.
Comes out of our pocket. I cannot put this back on our customers. We already try to work with them with flat rate shipping to allow them to spend more money with our products. And so this is just an extra added cost on top of what we're already absorbing.
Compton ships sea salt and twig products all over North America all year round, but she's especially busy this time of year.
In the beginning, it was very disappointing, but we try to keep it positive.
So is Kayla Butt with Swill Designs. Not all her clay earrings are holiday themed, but most are. She doesn't sell at craft fairs, instead uses social media and packages her products in these small, letter-sized boxes, perfect and easy for Canada Post. But this year, the holiday rush is very different. She's holding jewelry for out-of-towners, waiting out the strike.
So we have seen a decrease in the amount of online orders, but we are very thankful that people have still pulled through for us, and they're okay with waiting. And I understand that that can be disappointing as well. You want your earrings to wear to your events or to give as Christmas gifts. So we're very thankful that people are still supporting, but still we have noticed a significant decline in sales.
Unlike Compton, who ships larger packages, but can't justify shipping through a more expensive courier.
But I just don't feel like it's right to charge, $20 to ship a pair of earrings that you may have only paid $12 for.
While Swill Designs keeps her busy, it is a side business for Kayla Butt. As for Liz Compton, though, making and selling skincare is a full-time passion project. Canada Post employees have been striking for 11 days now, wanting better wages for new hires, stronger pension packages, and more time sorting their own mail. And while there's an agreement to deliver benefit checks like old age security and the child benefit, there's no focus on small businesses. Colleen Connors, CBC News, Corner Brook.
Well, they may be on strike, but postal workers in Happy Valley Goose Bay are committed to working for the big man in red. As Here and Now's Reagan Burden reports, they're still delivering mail to the North Pole.
HOHOHO. It's a postal code many are familiar with, especially this time of year. And this season is no different. Despite the ongoing strike, postal workers here in Happy Valley Goose Bay are making sure letters to Santa get delivered.
We were reached out to by one of Santa's elves, and they were worried that they weren't going to receive the Santa letters. So he asked for a favor, and we were happy to help to try and get the kids what they want for Christmas.
5-year-old Hannah Rice was feeling quite nervous that old Saint Nick may not get her letter.
Because I was feeling sad when Mommy said that the post office is on strike.
And so now that these postal workers are going to make sure Santa gets your letter, how do you feel?
Happy!
Now Hannah's waiting for word back from the big guy, and she's pretty sure she knows what he'll say.
You're a good girl, Hannah.
It's not just those on the nice list who are eager to have their messages sent. Parents are also feeling grateful.
Seeing the joy of everything in her eyes this year, between putting up her Christmas tree and lights, everything this year is a joy, and getting to send her letter, that made Christmas.
Just the smile that she had on her face, it was just great to see, and it brightened all our moods. And I mean, if we can just make one kid's Christmas even a little bit better, I mean, that's all we need from it.
Letters to Santa can be dropped off at the local post office here in Happy Valley Goose Bay anytime postal workers are out on the picket line. And with a little Christmas magic, those letters will make their way to the North Pole. Reagan Burden, CBC News, Happy Valley Goose Bay.
It's basically $1,700, so we divide it by 3 and we pay rent.
$925 per month.
It is a place where you can come and get all the services for one point, and all the services that support you socially and academically.
With rent on the rise, MUN wants St. John's students to consider a more all-inclusive option right here on campus. That story coming up.
I guess the other thing I need to send Hannah is some snow. We've got lots of rain that was happening across the province, though. Take a look at the temperatures out there right now, sitting, single digits this afternoon, a little cooler up across parts of Labrador. But if we take a look at the weather headlines over the next couple of days, we've certainly got some cooler temperatures on the way. Record rainfall fell as well for parts of the province. And it's still a little bit above normal in Labrador, although there is a little bit of snow in the forecast. I'll get into all the details coming up a little later.
Well, the fall semester at Memorial University is finishing up, but that doesn't mean everyone has an affordable place to live. MUN expects it'll continue to be a challenge for students to find that type of housing. The CBC's Jenna Head has that story.
University students do what they can to afford a place to live. For some, it means sharing. For others, it means a place of their own.
I'm living with my friends and we are living in an apartment of 3 beds, so it's basically $1,700, so we divide it by 3 and we pay rent.
I do pay for $925 per month, including my electricity bill, water bill, but I do pay for my own internet. And it's a 1-bedroom.
There is an on-campus option that many students don't consider. MUN's student residence, Peyton College, and it's an option that has available spaces.
We currently have about 120 empty beds. That's up about 20 beds from our opening in September, and that represents people who have picked a choice to leave campus, find an apartment, or they've left the university.
Over the last 2 years, MUN student residences have typically had 100 empty beds, primarily here, because most students want to live there. McPherson College. It's modern and more private. Belbin makes the pitch for Peyton College. Rent here is around $600 a month. That includes heat and internet. The mandatory meal plan is extra.
With 100 empty beds, it may not seem like a crisis anymore, right? But it is pressing for people to consider the residence option, because it is a place where you can come and get all the services for one point, and all the services that support you socially and academically and financially as well.
A MUN housing update earlier this year said the rental market was still hot, but not as bad as 2023. But more student housing options are coming available. Spaces Shared, an intergenerational home sharing platform, is setting up shop at MUN. Students pay between $500 and $850 a month for a room in exchange for lending a helping hand.
So a host can ask for up to 5 hours of assistance per week from a set list of tasks, none of which are care tasks. And if the student is willing to do that for every hour of weekly assistance they're willing to provide, the rent goes down, the monthly rent goes down by 5%. So if you're willing to help for 5 hours a week, you can get a 25% reduction in your rent.
Then there are these, new student apartments under construction just steps away from MUN. 700 beds set to open in fall 2025. The cost, $1,200 per month per student minimum. Memorial's Housing Issues Management team have not met since last fall. The university points towards improvements in student housing this fall, but students are still scrambling to find affordable off-campus housing options. Jenna Head, CBC News, St. John's.
Well, today marks the start of the Purple Ribbon campaign. It kicks off 16 days of activism against gender-based violence, with today being the International Day for the Elimination of Violence Against Women. Nearly a dozen memorial banners featuring the names of women and girls connected to this province were unveiled today at the Confederation Building.
Every 10 minutes, now just think about that, every 10 minutes somewhere in the world, a woman is killed by an intimate partner or a family member. This is no longer a private matter, it's a public matter, and we should all be empowered to want to make a difference.
Brad has just been such an iconic, really a face of the sport for so many years. And, you know, he works so hard to give back. And, you know, he really is one of those guys who truly loves where he comes from. He's so proud to be from Newfoundland and Labrador. And to see him play in front of his home crowd this week against the best in the world, that's the other thing is, you know, the Brier is a great event, but it's the Canadian Nationals where this is the top 16 in the world. And, you know, so he's going to have his toughest challenge. And to see, for the hometown crowd to be able to see him do that live, it's going to be special.
Very special. Final preparations are underway to transform the Mary Brown Centre. The Grand Slam of curling is in St. John's for the first time ever, and we'll be bringing you continuing coverage this week on Here and Now. Well, Ashley, the forecast was pretty dead on Sunday for the Christmas parade, getting postponed for another week. All that rain, just really dreary out, but nicer today.
Much nicer today. Yeah, it was a significant amount of rain through the weekend. I think Saturday we picked up about 49 millimeters just on Saturday evening into early Sunday. But yeah, let's take a look at what we saw today. A little glimpse of what we saw today. Some blue sky there. Denise shared this photo with me. She said, I didn't want to scare it off this morning, but obviously there's a layer of cloud cover there. It did move in through the afternoon, but it was nice, certainly, to see a little bit of blue sky this afternoon through parts of the province, especially after all of this rain we've been seeing. Well, let's take a look at those numbers. So this is just for St. John's. Bonavista, you've seen quite a bit of rain as well. In fact, your November so far has actually broken your rainfall record. But for now, we're at 295 millimeters of rain. The average that we typically see, which I've said a few times over this past month, is 137.8 millimeters. And the previous record was 285.9 millimeters. So we've broken that record by nearly 10 millimeters of rain. And there are still a few more days in November to go. So we'll see how much more we add to it. So for now, we've got an area of low pressure to the south. That is keeping us in northerly flow for the most part across the island, up across Labrador. Most of you are seeing some onshore activity as well, with those winds generally out of the north east at this point. But we can see some showers in and around central areas of the island, even parts of the Avalon seeing some drizzle. And this is generally going to continue as we head through the night tonight. But you may notice the temperatures are much cooler right now than they were even last night, about 5 degrees cooler in St. John's. The southeast, though, rather southwest, is seeing those temperatures a little bit warmer as we speak, but your temperatures are sitting still in the single digits. This is a little bit lower than where we should be sitting this time of year. Up across Labrador, your temperatures are hovering around 0 in Lab City right now, and that's in fact much warmer than what you should be sitting. Your daytime high should be sitting around -8. So taking a look at what's going to happen tonight, expecting these periods of showers and drizzle to continue for most of us in northerly flow as we head through the overnight tonight. Now, coastal areas of Labrador, even through central Labrador, you may see a few flurries. Nothing significant, but still, really most of Labrador will see that potential for some flurries tonight, with daytime, overnight lows hovering somewhere around 0 or +2 towards the southeast and the north and the west. We'll sit into the minus single digits, and most of the island will see those temperatures sitting in the 2 to about 5 degree range tonight, with winds a little brisk, though, for those of you on the west coast out of the northeast, around 30 to 50 kilometers per hour. So there's the winds there. As we head through tomorrow morning, though, we're actually going to see those winds pick up for the eastern half of the island. So we could be talking about 40 to 60 kilometer per hour gusts tomorrow. That will continue through most of the afternoon. And then as we get into the evening, the winds will ease off, and it'll actually be fairly decent tomorrow evening. So through the afternoon, generally cloudy for most of us. We will see that rain or drizzle continue through the day for most of the northeast coast. Now, those of you in the southwest, south coast, best chance of seeing the sun tomorrow, at least for the first part of the day. The cloud should move in as the day goes on. Up across Labrador, again, on the cooler side of things. So you're looking at the potential for some flurries through the day, and overall just unsettled with some more snow potential moving in as we head into Wednesday morning. So as far as that rain goes, like I said, nothing significant, at least for the next couple of days, which is good news. Trace to 5 millimeters, certainly possible there. But other than that, not a whole lot on the go. I'm pretty happy about that. I don't know about you, but there's a look at the temperatures for tomorrow. Single digits. This is a little bit below where we should be sitting this time of year, 5 to 7 degrees as the daytime highs. And then a little bit of chances of some flurries in the mix, especially in the higher elevations on the west coast. Just keep that in mind for tomorrow. Up across Labrador, overall, your daytime highs will sit in the minus single digits to the west and closer to 1 to 3 degrees for the rest of the Big Land. I'll get into the long-range forecast a little later.
Listen, if you're running behind on holiday shopping this year, you might have actually done yourself a solid. The feds just announced a 2-month HST tax break. We're talking candies and snacks, video games, books, kids' toys and diapers, alcohol. But you might want to wait a beat. It's kicking off December 14th. So what do we make of all of this?
I think that anything that helps us is a good idea, and our government is trying to do the right thing, and I support them in what they are doing. I think it's a great idea.
I've heard that it's a break that's going to do really great things for the province. Honestly, we've been having a hard time with sales lately. A lot of small businesses are having trouble.
I think there is definitely a place for taxes because we needed to fund social systems and whatnot, but the taxes should obviously not be on the middle or lower class family. It should be on the people that are exorbitantly rich.
Yeah, what do you think about the choice of products?
I would have chosen different things, but I guess we should start somewhere.
Well, I'm definitely going to buy a lot of books. Well, the tax cut is in place.
What would you put on the list if you could choose?
I would put the musical instruments on the list. I'm a musician.
The vibe I'm getting is that it's a break that's going to allow consumers to spend more at small businesses like us.
When I saw their thing on Facebook, I was really jazzed.
I've always wondered, hey, like when I'm done with it, what do I do with it?
It went to the bin at the end of the driveway, and away it went to the landfill.
Yeah, we didn't like that at all.
Well, the founders of a new co-op didn't like that either, and so they set out to divert glass waste from the landfill. We'll have more on newfound sand when we return.
changing hearts and minds about a fascinating predator.
Oh my God.
She's beautiful. You can see how
Watch Sharks Reconsidered, Sunday at 11:30 and Monday at 7.
Well, people in St. John's lined up for a rare chance to recycle household glass this weekend. Co-op Newfoundland Sand made its public debut at the St. John's Farmers Market, and the event was a smashing success. But why doesn't St. John's recycle glass in the first place? Here now, Zach Gowdy has that story.
Some of these glass jars and bottles have been piling up in people's basements for years. Now they're disappearing in seconds.
So I've been refusing to throw it out, and I realized we didn't recycle it. So I've been collecting it for like 2 years, convincing myself I would do a craft or a project with it, because I just did not have the heart to know that it was just going in the trash. So when I saw their thing on Facebook, I was really jazzed.
It's all thanks to some friends with a dream and an industrial glass crusher. Why are they doing this? Because what we do with glass in Newfoundland and Labrador today is glass backwards. The idea for Newfound Sand was uncorked in this shed in Clark's Beach.
And it was just like, hey, well, why don't we turn it back into sand and we'll call it Newfound Sand? And here we are. I don't know if you like zesty mustard pickles as much as I love zesty mustard pickles, but I've always wondered, hey, when I'm done with it, what do I do with it? Aside from people that put it under their sink, you have to put it in the trash because there's no way to actually recycle that in Newfoundland. And what we are saying, as a group of volunteers, starting at a very grassroots level, we think that there's a better way, so we can turn that into sand.
A little digging led them to the Expleco GLS 2.0.
This is it, hey?
This is it. This is the machine that turns glass back into sand.
Let's get crushing.
The technology is pretty simple. Glass goes in. Finally, crushed glass that is basically sand comes out.
It's been really cool. We had the kids around there last week, and they're putting the glasses in. It's kid-friendly, and as long as you don't put your hand down too far.
It's usually used in wineries and for other places that do a ton of glass, but they can't transport it out because of logistics. So what they do is they turn it back into sand and they'll use it locally. Golf courses are really big with it. So we have this piece of equipment that we intend on launching mobile collection events. The whole intention is to show everybody that glass is sand and this is the resource that we are throwing away.
So why are we throwing glass away? Well, let's back up to the zesty mustard pickles. When we're talking waste disposal, we're talking about two big kinds of glass. The first is the kind you find at the grocery store. Your condiments, your pasta sauces, oils and vinegars, and yeah, pickle jars. In Newfoundland and Labrador, these do indeed go in the trash. The City of St. John's has a whole page on its recycling website explaining why it doesn't take glass. In a nutshell, because it's too expensive, there are limited markets for recycled glass, and broken glass is dangerous for workers and contaminates other recycling streams. Because markets don't want it, food manufacturers are using it a lot less. Glass is now less than 2% of the trash going into the City of St. John's landfill, and unlike plastic or organic waste, glass doesn't break down. It just takes up space forever.
What's wrong with that? What's wrong with putting glass into the landfill the way we do now in Newfoundland and Labrador?
Well, better way to kind of ask that question is, if we're to rethink waste, why would you waste a resource?
Then there's the other kind of glass and another kind of wasted resource. Beer, wine, and liquor bottles are called deposit glass because there's a small deposit built into the price to pay for the recycling. But because there is no glass recycling facility in Newfoundland and Labrador, we have to ship it to a facility in New Brunswick. Sending all those empties all the way from George Street means burning a lot of carbon and a lot of cash. We asked the Multi-Material Stewardship Board for the numbers. Every year, more than 8 million pounds of glass is shipped out of province at an annual cost of about $250,000.
We're trying to lobby the government and say we can cut down on these carbon credits and money and keep the glass here in Newfoundland, and we'll crush it and turn it back to sand for a usable resource again.
This machine is really neat, but Is this a technology that can scale up to meet the glass disposal needs of a province like Newfoundland and Labrador?
Absolutely. There's other equipment out there that once we get the membership base that we need, we can then go to investors and we'll have a facility that we'll set up.
For now, Newfound Sand is setting itself up as a cooperative. You can join for a small fee or wait for their next public collection.
Before that, I mean, it always went in the garbage, right? I mean, it went to the bin at the end of the driveway, and away it went to the landfill.
Yeah,
so.
we didn't like that at all.
Oh, you're caught. Oh my God. I know blue is not gonna be nice, hey? So you know what idea I got in my mind for later on? For my tiki bar. Oh, wow. Right? I don't want the regular sand because it's gonna get muddy. Yeah. I need this product.
The idea that glass is sand, I think it just really resonates. Once people see it and they understand it, they're like, man, why haven't we been doing this forever? Why haven't we? Well, we're about to.
In the big picture of environmental problems, glass may be a grain of sand, but in a small province, there's no sense in throwing away money. That's why Newfound Sand sees this glass as half full. Zach Gowdy, CBC News, St. John's.
Lobster fishing crews in southwestern Nova Scotia will have to wait one more day to drop their traps. Known as Dumping Day, the start of the lobster season has been postponed because of bad weather. As Brett Ruskin tells us, safety is a particular concern this year.
Today is typically the day that dumping day happens, the day that fishing crews, lobster crews go out and dump their traps, but it has been delayed until tomorrow for safety reasons, waiting for the best possible weather conditions. And safety really is on the minds of fishing crews as well as the teams of folks who are there available to offer help should something go wrong out on the water. And I got an up-close look at exactly how these possible rescues could happen.
Maybe the vessel's taking on water, and our C-130 can come in and maybe drop a pump to them to help them with the water egress.
It's very much a work-together atmosphere in here to get the job done.
The first couple hours are always the most harrowing. There's always most boats that are leaving at the same time. Everybody wants to get out at the same time. The vessels are really chock-a-blocked full of all the traps.
And so on dumping day, the Joint Rescue Coordination Center will have helicopters at the ready, will have boats at the ready, and a Hercules aircraft flying overhead, making sure that everyone is safe and there to provide help if it's needed should something go wrong out on the water. Brett Ruskin, CBC News, Sambro, Nova Scotia.
One person has died after a cargo plane crashed as it approached the airport in Lithuania's capital. Lithuanian officials say 3 other people on board were injured. The flight was operated by airline Swiftair on behalf of DHL and had taken off from Germany. Authorities are looking into whether Russia played a role, given its suspected involvement in past sabotage cases, but they stressed there is no evidence at this stage. Well, a couple from Victoria is going public after WestJet tried to silence their efforts to seek compensation. Experts say it's a growing and troublesome trend. The CBC's Erica Johnson has their story.
We should do another of these cruises.
Russell and Anna Gurney pore over a photo book, a memento from a San Diego cruise they almost missed. WestJet canceled their flight, rebooked them on another flight leaving 2 days later.
Accepting that itinerary meant we would have missed the cruise ship.
The couple found tickets on an Air Canada flight that would get them to San Diego on time, but they were $1,500 more. So they filed a claim with WestJet for compensation. When the airline refused, the Gurneys took their case to small claims court. Soon they were dealing with a lawyer for WestJet, posted correspondence on a Facebook group for air passengers. When the law firm discovered the post, a lawyer asked Gurney to take it down and said WestJet's withdrawing its settlement offer for sharing what it called confidential settlement discussions.
You're an average person going up against a legal firm that represents a huge airline.
The founder of that air passenger website says he's troubled by a growing trend. Airlines trying to silence passengers seeking compensation.
They're trying to intimidate passengers. They want to make you feel that they are doing you a favor by paying what is owed to you anyway.
Even disputes handled by the regulator are shrouded in secrecy. When WestJet damaged Tim Rogers' bag and refused to pay replacement costs, he took the case to the regulator, won, and posted the CTA's decision to that Facebook group. Then he got a call from the regulator telling him that decision can't be made public.
It sounds like they're trying to make it easier for the airlines.
Full CTA decisions used to be posted online, but legislative changes last year made most details confidential.
I think it violates the Charter, I think it's probably unconstitutional, and that's the real source of the problem here.
A spokesperson for Transport Canada said the new rules make settling disputes more efficient. As for WestJet, it told Go Public it was following the rules, and in the end it did settle with the Gurneys, but to get their money, made them sign a non-disclosure agreement. Erica Johnson, CBC News, Vancouver.
Well, you already may be in the holiday spirit, but in the United States, today is the unofficial start of the festive season.
I hereby pardon Peach and Blossom.
U.S. President Joe Biden officially spared 2 lucky turkeys from becoming part of Thanksgiving dinner this year. At first, Peach was enjoying all the attention on her own until Blossom finally joined her in front of the cameras. They'll spend the rest of their days at a farm in Minnesota. The turkey pardon has been an annual event at the White House since the 1980s.
So here's what we've gathered from talking to local residents.
I spoke with a renter who's facing eviction this fall.
It is not for the weak of stomachs.
What does it mean for you to be able to give that advice and to know that you've helped? Don't look down.
If this is something that you didn't know about, let me tell you.
Heather Gillis, CBC News, Happy Valley Goose Bay.
St. John's.
Corner Brook.
Shaji, Innu First Nation.
Grand Falls, Windsor.
New West Valley, Newfoundland and Labrador.
There's a lot of preparation that goes into hosting the 2025 Canada Games, from the volunteers to the venues, but Sport NL says it's all about community and making sure the athletes are properly supported. We dropped by their recent summit to learn more.
So this is our third summit, our sports summit. So the theme is community this year, so we're really focusing on community sport, and we got 3 streams to the conference this year. Lots of sessions around mental health, around high performance, those sorts of things.
I broke my first world record when I was 10 years old. We didn't even know I broke it.
I've been in sport for over 20 years.
We tend to not take care of ourselves because we have to do A, B, and C and get the job done. But you know what? If you don't take care of yourself, you're not going to be able to do A, B, or C.
Most athletes go through post-Olympic blues, and I think I've learned from each games that I've been through that, you know, you go through those low moments that you have to take care of yourself. And even while you're training for a games or a competition, being able to be mindful of what your body needs is so vital to the entire equation of getting the results you wanted and performing at your best.
Welcome. We are currently trending to be the largest ever Canada Games. I'm not sure we want to wear
this. This is the pinnacle of many athletes who are coming for 2025. It's, you know, many it's the highlight of their athletic careers, but ensuring that when athletes come, they have the resources available to them, you know, should they be in any trauma situation, need any additional help or support while they're here. So it's such a significant event that you just want to make sure everyone is prepared, feeling supported as they come along, and as the 2025 Canada Games Host Society, we're really making that a priority.
Well, as we reported on Friday, children with disabilities and their families got a chance to get in the saddle over the weekend. Nonprofit organizations Rainbow Riders and the Friendship Circle of Newfoundland teamed up, offering a day of free horseback riding. Kids and teens with mental, cognitive, or physical disabilities were invited to visit the stables, interact with the horses, and go for a ride. The event also featured horse-related arts and crafts.
I think it's really important for Oliver and for other kids to get to try different things and meet different people. Oliver is a very social child, so he loves meeting new people, and just experiences like this, horse riding that he might not otherwise get.
Time now for a look at the long-range forecast, and we got a little bit of a break today from some of the rain, at least here on the island. How is the rest of the week looking?
Honestly, at this point, no significant rain, at least in the short-term forecast, which is good. But we do, it looks like in the longer range, there's a little bit of chance that we will see some more rain. So let's just jump right into the forecast as we head into Tuesday evening and then into Wednesday. So we've got that area of low pressure just to the south for Wednesday morning. That is going to bring some snow to parts of western Labrador. Otherwise, a little cooler than it has been across the island. And that means that we are going to see some snow in play as well as we head through the day and into Wednesday evening. And you can see that showing up nicely here on the future tracker. So temperatures will only sit between 2 to 5 degrees as our daytime highs on Wednesday, and overnight lows are going to be fairly chilly for our Wednesday evening. So we can expect some flurries to move in as the day goes on. Later in the day, though, especially for the west, this should fall as rain, though, along the south coast of the island as you see some milder temperatures, just enough to see that change over to rain. And then up across Labrador, temperatures, especially in the west, sitting below zero. But we will see some more flurry activity or light snow move towards central areas of Labrador, but that won't be until later on through the overnight period. So as we, here's a look at that, and then we will see that rain continue to move across the island as we head through the morning hours. And again, through areas like Central, you may see this start as snow for the first part of the day, and then that rain will head east and eventually move off fairly quickly through the day on Thursday. So going to keep an eye on that one. Overall, our daytime highs again on Thursday will be fairly much cooler than we have been seeing, anywhere from about 2 to 7 degrees against southern areas of the island. We'll see warmer temperatures between 5 to 7 degrees as the daytime highs. There's a chance we'll see some sun in the mix there as the day goes on, once that area of low pressure clear, or once the precipitation clears through the day. Up across Labrador, generally, again, single digits, just a little bit below zero for those of you in Lab West, where you will hover around -2 with that light snow continuing into the afternoon. The long range forecast, so it looks like periods of rain will be the story by the time we get into Friday. So you're going to keep an eye on that forecast as the week progresses. Saturday at this point looks dry. Who would have thought we'd get a dry day on the weekend? Hopefully that stays, but we're looking at single digits right across the board. For central and western Newfoundland, same thing, a little cooler though, with some flurries in the mix there, both Friday, really all week for western portions of Labrador. And then for western portions of Newfoundland, and then for Labrador, again, unsettled for you as well, with the chances of some showers, flurries, that should be flurries there, both Friday for eastern and western Labrador. Our weather photo of the day, another shot. I gotta show you another one of a blue sky today.
Oh, nice, and a rainbow.
Yeah, this is a great shot there of the harbor. Thank you to Len for that shot. If you have any weather photos, send them to nophotos@cbc.ca.
Oh, that's a great shot.
Finally.
Yes, and we have sunshine, also some dark clouds there.
Take it.
Nice shot, though. Okay, well, hopefully it looks good for Saturday in St. John's. Hopefully that'll carry over for Sunday for when the downtown Christmas parade is supposed to be held again. So, all right, well, that's it for us. Thank you so much for spending part of your evening with us.
Good night.